Good morning and welcome to Real Estate Economics weekly webinar series. Today we'll be presenting the Denver, Colorado area. I'm John Mulville. Thank you for joining us. Our schedule after today is 1 week from today. Posted to YouTube at 9 a.m. will be the Phoenix, Arizona webinar, followed 1 week later, May 19th, by the Seattle, Washington webinar. As of this morning's webinar, we will be posting each weekly series on YouTube at youtube.com, Real Estate Economics all spelled out. At any time, you can go to www.realestateeconomics.com and see the upcoming webinar schedule, and you can click and view any past webinars that are still posted. We plan leaving an area webinar up until we have a new one, a quarterly revision, and then we will delete the older one and move on to a fresher version, keep up with the data and the market occurrences and happenings. To start our discussion this morning, we'd like to take a look at Denver area activity for years 2008 through 2010. Many of you who've seen our weekly series are familiar with these maps. These are transaction maps showing the different transaction types. Blue are conventional resales, no lender involved. Green are builder sales from an active subdivision. The gold, or burnt orange if you will, are foreclosures, that's owner back to lender, and the yellow is lender out to new third-party owner. In this particular market area, we would define the northern sphere as Boulder and Bloomberg. The southern sphere is Adams, Arapahoe, Denver, Douglas, and Jefferson counties. Unlike many of the market areas we work, neither of these maps is dominated by foreclosures. There's abundant foreclosure activity, foreclosures and foreclosure sales as of 2008. By this point in time, much of the West, the Western markets, and the coastal Western markets are dominated by foreclosures and foreclosure sales. The Denver MSA still shows a fair number of new home sales and also shows a fair number of conventional owner-to-owner resales. Coming forward to March 2009, the situation is somewhat different, but not drastically different like we've seen in many, many markets. Conventional resales in blue dominate the activity. There are foreclosures and foreclosure sales riddling the activity, but not in the percentages that we see in many, many areas across the West. We'll get to the causal factors here in some of the upcoming slides, but still mostly resales, a fair number of builder sales with increasing percentage of foreclosures and foreclosure sales as of March 2009. We'll come forward 1 year to March 2010. This is the current data as we get it from the various county recorders. And the situation here almost, or at least very similar to the past 2 years. Market activity is dominated by conventional resales. This is a category that can include short sales, so short sales would appear to be increasing in number. New home sales, new builder sales in green are trailing off a little bit. Foreclosures are less apparent than in the previous year, and foreclosure sales are also less apparent. So what we've seen here is a lid on shadow inventory. Inventory is building up, but not at such a fast rate that it can't move through the system and move out. There's backlogs at some lenders. I think we all recognize that. Many of the lenders have had to build internal systems and build the infrastructure, if you will, the departments and the staff and that sort of thing to move these homes through the process, and that's beginning to take place. Government moratoriums and different programs are slowing this movement, but this is a market area that doesn't look anything like the Vegases of the world, the Inland Empires of the world, and some of the other market areas through our western coverage area that are impacted to a much greater degree. Let's look here at pricing trends in the northern sphere and the southern sphere. I think what we've seen here, if you look at the time periods covered, it's March 2008, March 2009, March 2010. The March 2009 to March 2010 data showing significant increases in value ratios. The base prices shown at the bottom of the bars are not up similarly. They are up in the southern sphere, not up in the northern sphere quite so much, but the value ratios have improved at this point, at least on a year-over-year basis, and both markets are above where the value ratios were in March 2008. Now, to put a little historical perspective in place, for the northern sphere, the average value ratio for 2007 was 153.72 per square foot, and for 2006, 152.84 for the north. Let's look at volume. On the left is the northern sphere. Total resales, as shown in blue, holding pretty steady over the time period. New home sales, shown in green, trending lower year over year. Red, foreclosures, fairly low level here, down from 73 to 35 to just 27. And foreclosure sales, sale of a home by a lender back to a new third-party owner, are steady and, more importantly, higher than foreclosures. If those foreclosure sales stay above foreclosures, that prohibits, slows down the buildup of shadow inventory that's caused the industry so much concern at this point in time. On the southern side, we've seen the volume drop from March 2008 to March 2009 from about 2,100 sales in 08, 17 and 09, rebounding quite noticeably here in 2010 to about 2,600. We've typically seen in many areas that the volume will base out or hit a low point before the pricing will. So even though the volume has started to rebound, the base or the absolute trough in prices is probably behind us. If you look at new home sales on the southern side, 471 trending down to 332 and 303, very low numbers. Foreclosures also trending lower year over year, and again, the foreclosure sales are exceeding the foreclosures in the last 2 years, again holding off that shadow inventory. This particular graph shows distribution of sales by price range, northern and southern. You could see the consequence of the market disruption where many of the sales migrated into lower price bands, lower price points during the course of the last 3 years. Most noticeably, the 100 to 200,000 in the northern area has picked up more sales or a larger percentage of sales, with people moving into more affordable houses and into the lower price bands. Same on the south. I think in both areas, particularly look at the northern sphere at the 600 to 800, we're starting to see some activity in some of the higher price points. We have seen activity across the country looking for trophy properties, people looking to neighborhoods that they had been priced out of and moving into those neighborhoods while values are viewed as being very affordable.